Hey, so I wanted to record a brief video here about how the phone apparatus works, the QR code, that kind of stuff. So we'll see here one style of the mounting hardware or the reading hardware. It has both Bluetooth and a QR code that's accessible. Either one. Um, Here we just go ahead and scan that, and that gives us access. All right. If we come here, I can show we have an alternative method of mounting that. Sometimes, especially if it is an outdoor application, it's easier to have it mounted down. And so here we see this is another one of the units here. This is the Bluetooth component that communicates with the central unit. So again, I'm going to show here. Here we have the QR reader is mounted, in this kind of horizontal configuration. If we go to the store, we see this latch is engaged. May have done a couple, but then here we see the latch is disengaged. Here we have another install. If we come here, we're again a horizontal mount of the QR code scanner. We also have, it does integrate, and the point too is it sits on top of an existing system that you may have if you have one. And so we're able to just communicate with that. On here, we'll come over and look at this unit here. And so this was like an existing Specco install. This is an existing Specco install, and we're able to wire into that and just set up relays. And so there's not any sort of new installation that's required. So the only limitation is that it is a physical connection, so you don't have to run any additional wires, and it will integrate with, and operate any sort of mag locks. User will be able to go in, unlock a door, do all that. It is not a software connection though. So if you're using, say, Specco or Bizzo or some of these other solutions, and the user uses our system to open the door, it will not show up in the other system's logging. It will, however, show up in managed memberships, and vice versa. We have a couple installs. It seems like invariably you'll have people who have already divvied out key fobs. You have users who prefer those. Elderly individuals maybe as well may prefer just using a key fob. If you have that in place, that's totally fine. There's no need to reissue any new key fobs or anything like that. Instead, it's all in addition to. So you can set it up such that if you have loyal customers, elderly customers, people that you don't have issues with, they can keep their key fobs. And then on any new customers, you just don't issue any key fobs, right? Unless, again, they're elderly or there's somebody that you want to give a key fob to. And often what happens is on an installation, people will notice that, if they have problem customers, well, they'll just yank their key fob access, and then they're forced to, go into the new system. And that way it makes it easier because a lot of the challenge is tracking, hey, so-and-so didn't pay. That doesn't automatically get translated to Specco, Bizzo, some of these other places, and it doesn't automatically remove their access. With managed memberships, rather than having an employee keep track of that, cut off the access, turn it back on when they start paying, right? Rather than having all of that, it's automatic. So you can set whatever you want. So by default, it's after the first failed payment, it cuts off their access, and it doesn't give them access again until after, they make a successful payment. You can make that after the third failed payment, whatever you want, the fourth failed payment. By default, managed memberships, the way that it works is it tries to collect the payment. It will notify the customer if there was an issue, give them an option to update their payment method, and then if it collects payment, then fine, it goes ahead and reactivates their account. If it doesn't, it will continue to try for up to 8 additional times in a calendar month, and then go from there. And if it doesn't, again, it goes down to your settings. You can either have it stay active and it just won't try again, and the customer's going to have to manually, make arrangements to get that turned back on, or you can have it where, you know, it just kills the account, doesn't continue to try to build them, and goes from there. Here we have another installation. We have the Raspberry Pi that syncs in with this was an existing access control system, which actually I can't get into right now, but we're able to hook into the jumpers. So there's a relay that works there, and that all connects to our circuit here, which handles both Bluetooth and QR code communications. So if we come here, see this QR code scanner, and that, you know, allows us to scan in, and it sends a signal, connects to the central unit, which then again checks the authentication, checks to see if they have access. It caches the response, so if there's any downtime on the internet, people can still access the doors. And here we have another unit. We have our QR code scanner, and that is hooked up to our device here, which is connected to Wi-Fi, and then it itself is connected again to an access control unit. And this is something that was retrofitted. It plugs up via a relay to the request exit circuit. So anytime someone accesses the unit, it's similar to if there was like an exit button to press to unlock it. And then that hooks up again via Wi-Fi. And then individual users, they can either connect to Bluetooth and activate the unit, which again activates the access control, or they can use the QR code scanner, and they can scan their QR code, and that again activates or communicates with the device, and that communicates to the central unit to make sure if they have access, and then it logs that access if it does let them in or deny.